listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the longest-running Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
We're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl. 'Cause we're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins #1.
Hello, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you today? And thank you for listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast on this Tuesday, February the 3rd. I am your host, Mike Oliva. Got a little bit of a fun show for you today, as we're going to do a little bit of speculating here about what the Miami Dolphins might do with the quarterback position this free agency period. You know, I think a lot of us think and feel it's probably going to be Malik Willis and stuff, but what if it's not? What if they don't go out there and sign Malik Willis? What's like the plan B? Who else could they sign? Who else is available? And that's all this show is going to be today. You're going to sort of, I'm going to go through over some of the free agent names out there, who's available, who's not, and just sort of, throw them against the wall, have some fun with that. And we'll see. I know it's kind of slim pickings out there, but we'll go through the names. But before we get to any of that, as always, let's get the business aspect out of the way here at the top. As always, this show is brought to you by Caneswear. Everyone go to caneswear.com for the best and most affordable Miami Dolphins apparel on the internet. If you need a Miami Dolphins hat, hoodie, polo, jersey, shorts, something for the home, something for the office, something for the car, caneswear.com. Caneswear.com. They ship internationally as well. They also have stuff for the Miami Hurricanes, your Florida Panthers, the Miami Heat, the Miami Marlins. They got it all. Caneswear.com. Also, shout out to everyone watching this live on this Tuesday afternoon at the I Am a Miami Dolphins fan Facebook page, run by the great Carlos Hernandez. If you're on Facebook, please be sure you are a part of the I Am a Miami Dolphins fan Facebook page. And if you're with me live right now on YouTube, do me a favor, smash that like button. Smash it, smash it, smash it, smash it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And yes, super chats are open. Send me a super chat. I will read it on the air by the end of the show. All right, let's just get right to it. As I said, I think Miami is going to sign Malik Willis this offseason to be their quarterback. It is also far from a sure thing that will happen. Another team could blow him away with an offer that Miami can't match, or just maybe I'm wrong. And Miami, they don't want to pay him, and they're going to look for like a cheaper option and not go all in on Malik Willis. I don't think it's the case, but I've been wrong before. So the question is, what is plan B for the Dolphins at quarterback? And no, I'm not talking about keep Tua or just play Quinn Ewers. Tua's gone for reasons I've gone over at nauseum on previous shows here the past week or two. Not going to just jump into that again. He gone, make your peace with it. And Quinn Ewers was okay at best and bad at times in the last 3 games of the year when he played. He's going to compete for the job no matter who they bring in, yes. But Miami needs to rebuild that quarterback room, and you just can't say, well, we got Quinn Ewers, and let's just go find someone in round 4 and just call it a day. That ain't going to happen either. So it's more than just keep Tua or just play Quinn Ewers. The list below I'm about to go over are realistic options who are free agent quarterbacks. This is not a sexy list. This is not a list that's going to get any fan excited. But again, this year is more about cleaning up the cap, getting rid of Tua's salary and some others like Hill and, Chubb most likely, and clearing up the cap. But they got to put together a competent team, okay? So I get it. This list of free agent quarterbacks ain't the most exciting, but it's also realistic. And this is our reality that the Miami Dolphins are sort of facing right now entering the 2026 season. And I know there's going to be a segment of fans out there. As soon as I start naming these names, you're going to be like, just start Quinn Ewers. I don't want him. Just start Quinn Ewers. I don't want him. Just start Quinn Ewers. I don't want him. That's fine. You're entitled to feel that way. And this probably isn't the podcast for you today. You might want to skip this one and join me again tomorrow with another topic. But the Miami Dolphins need to bring in a veteran quarterback to compete with Quinn Ewers. And maybe Quinn Ewers will beat that guy in training camp. Who knows? Maybe he won't. But the fact is you got to have someone else. And they're not tanking. Someone says just play Quinn Ewers and tank. This coaching staff, this general manager, they don't know the meaning of tanking. They're from Green Bay. They want to win. You might say tanking's the best thing. They don't have that mindset. So if you think they're just not going to try or punt on the quarterback position, you got another thing coming. It's just not happening. So I'm going to go through some free agent quarterbacks who Miami could sign to a 1-year deal or a 2-year deal just to get through the season, have them compete with Quinn Ewers. Let's get to the list. These are in no special order. No special order. Let's start with Aaron Rodgers. Now, a week ago, I would have laughed at you if you would have said Aaron Rodgers and the Miami Dolphins in the same sentence. I would have laughed at you. But now with Nate Hackett in Miami, to quote Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. This could have some legs. Rodgers is 42 years old. He may retire. I don't know. But if he plays, there are ties to the Miami Dolphins now. Obviously with John Eric Sullivan, who was in Green Bay forever since 2003. And Nate Hackett was the offensive coordinator for Rodgers for 3 years in Green Bay. And then Rodgers got Hackett the OC job with the Jets. They are very close. They are friends. So you just can't brush it off like, no, it's not going to happen. Now, yes, Rodgers probably does want to end his career with a winner and try and win a ring, which I don't think is going to happen in Miami the next year or two. But it's also not impossible, and here's why. When you're as good as Aaron Rodgers, a Hall of Fame level player, all-time greats, and it's not just him, anyone at that level, they have an ego. They think their you-know-what ain't going to stink. And they think wherever they go, they're going to make that team a winner. So Rodgers might be like, they're not rebuilding. I'm going to go there. And I'm going to make them an instant contender overnight. That's the way guys at that level think. Now look, I think it's unlikely he comes to Miami. But with Nate Hackett here, it ain't impossible, folks. It ain't impossible. So that's the first name of a free agent quarterback who's out there. Again, a week ago, I would have laughed. I wouldn't even have had him on the list to talk about a week ago. Like, why waste our time? But with Nate Hackett here, you got to talk about it. The next name is Russell Wilson. Now, this guy's been passed around more than a $2 whore at a bachelor party the past few years. And he's not going to cost much money to sign. And it's been a bit of a roller coaster the past 3 years or so. But it hasn't been all bad either. Last season with the Giants was bad. He played in 6 games. That's it. 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He started 3 of those 6 games. He was 0-3 as a starting quarterback. That wasn't good. Now in 2024 in Pittsburgh, he did throw 16 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions in 11 games. That ain't too shabby. And his final year in Denver with the Broncos, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions in 15 games. So you go 2023, 2024, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 16 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. That ain't awful. Now, yes, last year with the Giants can't be ignored, but it was also the Giants who were a hot mess. So Wilson, I think, is in play here. Again, if they don't get Willis or want Malik Willis. I think Willis, let me just make this clear. He's like 1. And everyone else here is fighting for the spot number 2, in my opinion. I might be wrong. So maybe you pay Russell Wilson, have him start the year, and maybe by midseason, if Quinn Ewers improves enough, you see where he can take over. Or maybe Quinn Ewers just beats him out in training camp when they have a camp battle. I don't know. And here's something else too with Russell Wilson. He can still make plays with his legs. Last year in those 6 games with the Giants, he still ran for over 100 yards. Now, play that out if he started, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 games, probably would have had a few hundred yards rushing. And his final year in Pittsburgh and in his 1 year in Pittsburgh and his final year with the Broncos, rushing yards were there as well. So again, Russell Wilson is a name that's going to get any fan of the Dolphins excited. No. Can you sign him to a 1-year deal, have Russell Wilson, Quinn Ewers for a year, and then in the 2027 draft to draft a quarterback in round 1? Yeah, I wouldn't say it's unlikely. Next name is Marcus Mariota. I'm not a big Marcus Mariota fan. A little bit of a step down in class here compared to the first 2 names I gave you. Last year, he played in 11 games. He started 8, 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Prior to last season, he only played in 3 games in 2024 and 3 games in 2023. And the stats aren't even worth looking at because it was so little playing time. You really have to go back to 2022 when he started and played in 13 games with Atlanta, 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Again, if Miami if they want someone cheap, 1-year deal type, Marcus Mariota's probably your guy. And you have him go in there and compete with Quinn Ewers, see who starts the season or see who is the starter at camp. I'm just not a big Marcus Mariota guy, especially at this, like cutting into 2026. Maybe 5-6 years ago, you might have been able to sell me on him if we were in this situation then. But Marcus Mariota is a name who's out there as well. Next one is a little bit interesting. This is an interesting name. Tyrod Taylor. With the Jets last season, the stats aren't great if you just look at the stats, but if you actually watch the games, he wasn't like awful, and because he had nothing to work with the Jets. I mean, horrible. He had a horrible offensive coordinator. Wilson was in and out of the lineup. The running game some weeks was good, some weeks wasn't. Tyrod wasn't great. He wasn't awful. Like, it was like serviceable. And again, that's what Miami's kind of looking for here. He played in 6 games last year. He started 4, 1-3 as a starter, 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, ran for 143 yards and 1 touchdown rushing. He's a guy who's been around this league for many years. He's a guy, he'd be a good guy in a quarterback room with a Quinn Ewers. He'd also be a very good guy to maybe hold on to for more than a year if you do draft a quarterback in 2027 as well. I think he could help out a lot there, but not someone who would be at the top of my list, but it's a name worth considering because, again, outside of Willis, a lot of these guys, I mean, maybe Rodgers has got a little bit more left in the tank because he actually played well at times last year for Pittsburgh. But like a lot of these names on the list are kind of all 6 one, half dozen the other. So Tyrod Taylor, you just can't say, I don't want him. I mean, who else are you going to sign if it's not? I mean, it's not like you're going to sign someone who's a major upgrade over him. I mean, if it's Tyrod Taylor, Marcus Mariota, Russell Wilson, these guys are all kind of in the same boat. Yeah, you might have a personal preference to one over the other, but it's like they're all kind of the same guy. So Tyrod Taylor's next on the list. Got a few more names here. Real quick, though, everyone go to finevan.com, largest Miami Dolphins message board on the internet. Also, wherever you're listening, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, Podchaser, iHeartRadio, subscribe. And again, if you're on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the alert bell, and super chats are open. Send one in before the end of the show. I will read it on the air. Now, this is an interesting name as well. Joe Flacco. Will Miami get wacko for Flacco? This guy's still hanging around. He plays at a halfway decent level. Split last season. He opened last season with Cleveland, who was, just a hot mess. Then he went to Cincinnati. And his time in Cleveland clearly wasn't great. It's Cleveland. But in Cincinnati, he was electric. 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Now, I know a lot has to do with, Chase and Higgins and all their weapons. I get that. But the year before in Indianapolis, Flacco with the Colts, 12 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. This guy's still slinging it. And then if you go back to 2023 in Cleveland, 13 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Flacco still got something in the tank. Now, he just turned 41. Here's what I like about Flacco, though. I wouldn't mind having him in a quarterback room with Quinn Ewers because I think he's someone who can sort of teach, groom, use whatever word you want. Quinn Ewers, I see kind of a similar game with these two guys, and I think he's someone who could bring Quinn along nicely. Whether Quinn starts and Flacco's on the bench or vice versa, I think he's a type of guy you wouldn't mind in the room to sort of, have Quinn Ewers tied at his hip and sort of learn the ropes a little bit. Because I don't know how much Quinn learned last year from Tua, because Tua was going through his own issues. So having someone like Joe Flacco, I mean, with any of these guys, that would kind of be the case. But I think Flacco would really be a nice guy to pair Quinn Ewers with. So that's a name that is out there. This next name, again, not one of my personal favorites, but got to mention it because he's one of the few. Mitchell Trubisky, only 31 years old. He's really not that old. A lot of tread on the tires, though. He's been with the Bills the past two seasons, backing up Josh Allen. He's almost played next to nothing, though, these past 2 seasons. Very limited work. 2024, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. 2025 this year, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, but very few work. I mean, he really hasn't been on the field much since 2022 in Pittsburgh, where he started 5 games for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And before that, you got to go back to 2020 when he really got substantial time as a starter, when he started 9 games for the Bears. He's been in the league a while, but he hasn't been asked to play much of late. So he's going to come probably as dirt cheap as anyone out there for the quarterback position. But it is kind of roll of the dice. Because if Flacco has to play, Marcus Mariota has to play, like they've played a lot of snaps the past few years. You kind of know what you're getting. Might not be great, but you kind of know what you're getting. Mitchell Trubisky, you don't know what you're getting. I think with the brain, I think he would sort of help out someone like Quinn Ewers, but I don't know how much left he has on the field, even though he is only 31. So that's a name that might be an interesting one. And again, we'll see what John Eric Sullivan, Jeff Hafley want to do. They might want to go dirt cheap at quarterback. We're not going to pay Willis, and we're not going to go after someone like Rodgers or Russell Wilson. We're not going to cost a ton, but they're going to cost enough. Like, you know what? Quinn Ewers, Mitchell Trubisky for a year. We'll find our quarterback 2027. Let's go. They could have that mindset. I don't think they will, but they could. Fact is, we don't know. This is year one. This is all new waters, new territory for us. The next name is a big roll of the dice, and I wouldn't be against it. Trey Lance. Now, this is another avenue because this guy has almost zero real experience on the field. You're signing Trey Lance hoping he's the guy who was picked 3rd overall in the 2021 draft, and you got the coaching staff to unlock him. Okay? You got the staff to unlock him. He's 6'4". I never realized he was that tall, or if I did, I totally forgot because he's been off my radar for so long. He's 6'4". He's got the size. He's got the arm. He's only played in 16 games since 2021. He's only started 6 games. He hasn't thrown a touchdown since 2021. This is a total roll of the dice. A total roll of the dice. And if you can get him to be the guy who was like even live up somewhat to the 3rd overall pick where he was, it's the steal of all steals. But again, you know, he might be a total bust. He might not ever live up to that or even come close to living up to that. So you got to be prepared if you sign him to put him in a competition with Quinn Ewers. You know, if it doesn't pan out, you got Quinn Ewers and you got nothing behind him then. So a little bit of risk here, but this risk could pay off big time if this guy, you know, some guys it just takes longer. I mean, it just is what it is. Some guys it just takes longer. There's a long list of, I mean, look at Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl. You know, year 1, year 2, people just want to pin it on the Jets. It's not only the Jets. Sam just wasn't very good. And it finally clicked. Now he did play a lot though. So he had a lot of experience. And Lance hasn't had that, so it's not quite apples to apples, but that's a name who's out there. And again, we'll see. We'll see. Kenny Pickett, another name. He has a lot of experience. He's played in 36 games and 27 starts since he joined the NFL. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Tyrod Taylor in that he's probably a good guy for a quarterback room, but probably a guy you really don't want to see play, unfortunately. He probably can help Quinn Ewers or any other young quarterback that Miami might draft, in the middle rounds this year. If he has to play, it's probably going to be ugly. If he beats out Quinn Ewers in camp, it's probably not a good sign for Quinn Ewers. But Kenny Pickett's a name. Look, if he's on the field and he's actually out there for 12 games, 13 games, Miami's picking 1 or 2 in the draft next year. But he's a veteran quarterback. And again, we don't know what this front office will do. I'm pretty sure they're going to go with Willis, but they got to get guys who can actually play this year and get them through the year. So if it's not Willis, once again, these are the names. I know it's not sexy, not exciting, but Kenny Pickett's one of the names out there. The next name is very interesting. Jimmy Garoppolo. This one's interesting because the Rams got not 1, but 2 first-round picks this year. And they know Matthew Stafford's coming to the end of the road. If they use one of those first-round picks to take Ty Simpson, then I think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be forced to sign with another team, and he'll look for a place to sign. If the Rams don't take Simpson, though, or any young quarterback in rounds 1, 2, or 3, whatever, then I think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be more than happy to stay as Matthew Stafford's backup working with Sean McVay. Here's the thing with Jimmy G. He has not played in almost 2 full seasons. This year, he got on the field in 3 games. He threw 0 passes. In 2024, he played in only 1 game. That's it. So if Jimmy G's like, damn, the Rams are going to finally move on from me and I got to find a new team, if he wants to actually play, but I don't know if he does because he's got it pretty much made in the shade here in LA, just sitting on the sideline watching Matthew Stafford win league MVPs and stuff. Jimmy Garoppolo could be in play. But again, if the Rams don't go with Ty Simpson or anything, then I think, or here's the deal, free agency is before the draft. But if the Rams, they could draft Ty Simpson, I guess, and carry 3 quarterbacks. They could. I don't think they would, though. But I think Jimmy G is going to want to stay in LA before he explores any options of going anywhere else. So that wouldn't be probably a quick signing for Miami, and I don't know how long they're going to want to wait because they're going to have to get somebody on the books here to put in that quarterback room with Quinn Ewers. So those are sort of the names on the list. I got some other names too. I want to go through this here. One name I left off on this list is Daniel Jones, only because of the injury. I don't know if he's going to play this season. And if he does play, when's he coming back? November? If he does, that doesn't help Miami any because they're just looking to find someone who can help get them through the season. They don't want someone who's going to miss half the season. So I left Jones off the list as well because he is a free agent. I just don't know if Miami's the right spot for him. I think heading back to the Colts probably is the right spot for him. If the Colts could probably go out there. If I'm the Colts, I'm sort of kicking the tires on a Russell Wilson type, someone who's got a little bit more experience, have them start and also sign Jones. So if Wilson just loses it this year and he's got nothing left, well, then you just sort of wait until Jones returns. And if he's playing good Wilson, then maybe sign Jones to a 2-year deal. So then you can have him hit the ground running in 2027. So I just don't think Miami's the right team for him. Now there's also some other names. I'm not going to go in. I'm not going to, go and mention each one of these guys and talk about their histories, but you got Carson Wentz, Case Keenum, Brandon Allen, Tommy DeVito. Hey, how you doing? And Sam Howell are also free agents that are out there who kind of fit in this group. I mentioned guys, have some experience, veteran guys that you can put in this quarterback room with Quinn Ewers. I also left off Kyler Murray because he's not a free agent. Kyler Murray's under contract. Now, yes, he's going to be cut. But I don't think if you're Miami, you're going to, move on from Tua and sign Kyler Murray, who's had, I don't want to say the same issues, but a lot of the same issues of being healthy, staying on the field. Plus, I think teams like Pittsburgh and the Vikings, who actually have a chance to make the playoffs and win next year, they're going to be more interested in Murray and probably paying him to get him there. The other name is Mac Jones, because Mac Jones is under contract in San Francisco, so you'd have to trade for him. And then after you trade for him, then you'd have to give him a new contract. And I don't think Miami is in a spot. I mean, look, I'm a big Mac Jones fan. I know myself and Tom at week 10 or 12 last year had a little back and forth on this. I think Mac Jones, what he did on the field this year showed the world this guy's a starting quarterback in the NFL. San Francisco's lucky to have him on their bench. I think with Mac Jones, though, I think San Francisco would trade him probably for a 3rd-round pick, which isn't much, because they know he's going to leave after this year. So get something for him now. I think you could get Mac Jones probably for a 3rd-round pick. Problem is you're going to have to pay him. Not a ton. You're probably going to have to pay him kind of what Miami's going to have to pay Malik Willis in that kind of neighborhood. So, and again, I think there might be some other teams that are going to be in a situation to make that happen. Once again, a team like the Colts, they could totally do that and just move on from Jones. And Mac Jones on the Colts might be a nice little home there. Again, you got the Vikings you have to consider. You got Pittsburgh you have to consider. Cleveland, who knows what they're going to be doing these days. There's a lot of teams who kind of need a quarterback. So I didn't mention him. I didn't mention Murray. And look, it's only February 3rd. This is just sort of a big picture look preview of what in the next month here, because free agency is 5 weeks away? 5. I think it's 5 weeks away. So this might happen quick with the quarterback spot. It will be here before you know it. I think they're going to probably release once you get to the combine, which I'm not sure if it's the last week of February this year or the first week of March. Either way, that's probably when they're going to sort. That's when they are going to let go of Tua, either pre-June 1st or post, or if they're going to pay down the contract and trade him, which it makes no sense to me to trade him because you probably have to give up Tua and a pick to have some other team take him. Well, why? If I got to pay down the contract and throw in a pick, why trade him? Just let him go, cut him, eat the money, all 1 year, split it up, post year and first. It just makes the trade one is kind of confusing unless, they don't have to pay down the contract, which I don't know why anyone will want him at that point. So we'll see what happens there. But we know Miami needs to bring in a vet, like I said, to compete with Quinn Ewers, and also maybe even help Quinn Ewers along here in year 2 of him being an NFL quarterback. That's what I think. Quinn Ewers has a bright future because I kind of think he's just a number 2 quarterback in this league. Those final 3 games, again, I didn't see much. I mean, yeah, he was okay at times. Here's the deal. Week 18 versus the Patriots, he was awful. The game versus Tampa, he was good. He was okay. He was good. And then the game for Cincinnati, he was okay in the first half and literally just okay. He was terrible in the second half. So he played what? Like 1 good game? And by good, I mean, it was like just okay. I think he's just a long-term number 2 quarterback. But again, next year we know what it is for Miami with the salary cap, with the roster, with the people in charge to sort of just get through it. Again, though, I do think Willis is going to be their guy, and they're going to try to move heaven and earth to get him. But if not, the names I mentioned, Rodgers, don't laugh, Russell Wilson, Marcus Mariota, Tyrod Taylor, Joe Flacco, Mitchell Trubisky, Trey Lance, Kenny Pickett, Jimmy Garoppolo, and then you got the Sam Howells, Tommy DeVito, hey, how's your family, Case Keenum, Brandon Allen, and Carson Wentz's of the world. Going to be somebody like that. And that's going to be your quarterback room for a year. And then you move on to 2027 where hopefully, it's in round 1, Lenora Sellers or Arch Manning or Dante Moore. If it's one of those 3, we're going to be okay. But we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, that's all for today's show. Just wanted to pop on and do that real quick. Everyone, check out the website, DolphinsTalk.com. We have redone the website. New look, fresh coat of paint, easier on the reader to find stuff, much easier. Check it out. Also, Dolphins Talk Extra, patreon.com/DolphinsTalk, $5 a month. We have 2 tiers now. We streamlined everything, $5, $10. And if you sign up now, you still got time to get in on our Super Bowl boards. That's right. For $10, you get 5 squares. Hello. It's pretty much $2 a square, but you pay $10, you get 5. Maybe my math's wrong on that. I don't know. It's been a long day already, and it's only 2:30. That's right. It's not $2 for 5 squares. Whatever. You can understand. $10, you get 5 squares. And once it's filled up, it's filled. But you can go to patreon.com/DolphinsTalk. Chance to win a little bit of money. It's for fun, but you will win the money. I think it pays $25 a quarter, $125 for the final score. And also with extra, you get extra podcasts with myself, Josh, Aaron the Brain, some about the Dolphins, some about whether it could be the Olympics, pro wrestling, television shows, movies, food, you name it. We have a variety of extra podcasts there. And there's also a private message board as well. Patreon.com/DolphinsTalk. Follow us on social media on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, Blue Sky at Dolphins Talk as well. Everyone have a great Tuesday. We'll talk to you again after a while. And folks, when you're out on the road driving around, please don't forget that we must put an end to highway profanity.